You just knew one of these moments was coming for the Chicago Cubs, that they were just going to explode offensively, especially after all the struggles and all the hardship that they've been through. But I don't think anybody knew Dansby Swanson was going to be the catalyst for this explosion of offense. And we got some heartbreaking news about one of our favorite or best pitchers from this season. We got to talk about it all right after this. Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of Chicago Cubs Central, your number one spot for all things Chicago Cubs. And of course, we fly the W every single time the Chicago Cubs win a game. We fly the W 49 times this season, y'all. We have flown the W. The Chicago Cubs find themselves heading into July, 11 games above 500 with a subpar a lot of subpar teams are going to play in the month of July. So a chance to head into the trade deadline in a very, very good spot heading into the trade deadline that's coming August 3rd. You guys don't want to miss anything with that because, of course, right here is your spot for all trade deadline news up in the coming weeks, in the next 4 weeks until the trade deadline. I'm going to be giving you guys all the scoop that I know. So make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell too so that you don't miss anything we got going on over here on Chicago Cubs Central. Remember, this is your number one spot for all things Chicago Cubs. So with that being said, folks, let's get right down to it. I don't think anybody saw this type of offensive explosion coming from the Chicago Cubs, but my goodness, the Chicago Cubs in their last games have went absolutely nuts, including the game on Wednesday, a 1:20 start time. They went up against Walker Buehler and the San Diego Padres to close out the series and to sweep the series. They did so, also winning the season series against the Padres. The Chicago Cubs do win this 23, hear me right, 23 runs to 3. The Chicago Cubs had 8 different home runs in this game. Dansby Swanson hit 3 of those home runs. So in this game, we had Seiya Suzuki, homer to center. The Cubs went up 3-0. That scored Pete Armstrong and Alex Bregman. Swanson came up behind them in the second inning and homered to left. Then, like I said, you had Swanson homer again to center, scoring Conforto and Amaya. Then after that, Conforto homered. Then Pete Armstrong got in on the action and homered, scoring Amaya and Swanson. Conforto came up, homered again, this time scoring Ian Happ also. Alcantara singled, Conforto singled, Amaya singled. Swanson then, with the bases loaded, would come up and hit a grand slam, scoring Dean, Conforto, and Amaya. And then Michael Busch in the 8th inning also would hit another home run, and that would drive the score up to 23 runs for the Chicago Cubs. Listen, let me tell you something. Games like this, you just got to appreciate. You got to remember these type of games on the days where it seems like the Chicago Cubs can't do anything right. They can't score one freaking run. They are struggling. They are back against the wall in a game that looks like they should be winning. This is baseball. This is how it happens. Sometimes you're going to win big. Sometimes you're going to lose big. The Chicago Cubs need to find that even keel spot where they're in between the middle of losing sometimes, but they also are going to win some games. Again, the Chicago Cubs find themselves on pace to win about 89 games now after sweeping this series against the Padres. But the big news, Dansby Swanson breaking out of his slump. Dansby Swanson's batting average had dropped all the way to 178. And now Dansby Swanson has ballooned that that batting average up to 209 as of the end of this game. So Dansby Swanson, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Like I said, it is appreciated. The Chicago Cubs appreciate it, and the Chicago Cub fans appreciate the fact that you are finding your way and beginning to do better. Like I said, just beginning to play better, beginning to perform better. And he looks like he's starting to have fun back at the ballpark again. Like I said, it's not fun when you are losing or the reason why your team is losing. Speaking of which, one of the things that has struggled or struck a chord with the Chicago Cubs is this whole weird situation with Ben Brown. And I want to thank my buddy Steven. Steven, I'll never be able to pronounce your name the right way. So I know you're going to put it in the comments and tell me how to pronounce your name. But me and him have been talking, having sidebar conversations, and we've been talking about Ben Brown. The conversation circling Ben Brown is this weird neck injury that has come on Ben Brown and has been limited him from being able to play again. So there was never a clear explanation for the neck injury that cost Ben Brown the final 3+ months of his season 2 years ago. It was a perplexing setback that had the pitcher and the Cubs searching for answers without any firm conclusions. Brown landed on the 15-day injured list earlier this week due to what was now being diagnosed as a stress reaction in a bone within his neck. Now, it's similar to the situation to the one he went through during his rookie year with the Cubs in 2024, but the right-hander believes there is a clear path forward with information gathered this time. Ben said himself when he was asked about this on Saturday before the Cubs play Milwaukee, says the same exact spot, same bone, same spot, a million times more clarity. So what's going on with Ben Brown and his neck? So basically what's happening is Ben Brown has had severe pains in his neck. I don't know if it's because he's been sleeping wrong. I don't know if it's because he doesn't stretching. I don't know if it's just a happenstance injury. But this type of injury is scary because this thing cost Ben Brown his season last time. It cost Ben Brown what we thought was going to be his breakout year in 2024. Then he came back in 2025 and struggled mightily. Now in 2026, he comes to the team, starts off coming out the bullpen, gets elevated to a starting pitching role, and then unfortunately is unable to keep himself together health-wise to be able to pitch for the Chicago Cubs. So originally they had thought that he had some type of tumor or something going through his that was attached to the bone in his neck. And then they found that it's that rather than that, it's a small fracture of the C5 neck bone located right in the middle of the neck and allows along with 2 or 3 neck vertebrae, and it's causing him pain when he does certain head movements. So again, as a pitcher, you need to be able to have those head movements. You need to be able to have those arm movements. You need to be able to have the use of this shoulder, this whole arm, but you also use parts of your back too to be able to pitch. And so it's that same constant movement that's causing Ben Brown this type of pain. And so basically the questions that have been coming out is, what are the Chicago Cubs supposed to do? Are they supposed to teach Ben Brown how to pitch from with his other hand? Or are they supposed to, teach him a different way to pitch? Or how do you alleviate this? How do you alleviate this situation? Guys, I'm not going to lie to you. I would be shocked if Ben Brown pitches again this year for the Chicago Cubs. And I understand that coming out of this article, you hear and you say that Ben Brown has more clarity on what's going on with him this time. They kind of figured things out this time. They're in a better spot this time. And they're saying all of these things, and they sound like the right things to say. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I would be shocked if Ben Brown pitches again this year. Hear me or hear me well. I will be shocked if he pitches again this year. With this type of injury, like I said, last time it kept Ben Brown out the rest of the season. And it sucks for Ben because he was pitching so well. He had found that third pitch. He had caught himself in a groove, and he was doing things for the Chicago Cubs that, had us questioning, should he be an all-star? And now to go from that to this, it's very, very depressing. But with this type of injury, it's still a lot that's unknown. Even though they're figuring things out, even though they understand what's going on, they still don't know why he's having the pain. They still don't know why this is happening to him. So these are all questions that you have to figure out before you can even begin to start thinking about pitching again. We're right now, we're at the point with Ben Brown. We're just talking about him not having those pains anymore. So again, when it comes to the rest of this season, y'all, we're in July now. August, September. July, August, September. Beginning of July. Michael Jones, will be shocked if you see Ben Brown pitch again this year. And I think Jed Hoyer knows it. And I think that's why he's going to go out and be aggressive and get, if one, if not two, more pitchers for the Chicago Cubs team. Because you literally are looking at, Ben Brown just probably not being able to come back. And we already heard Jed Hoyer discuss the fact that if Justin Steele comes back, he's coming back and pitching out of the bullpen more than likely for the Chicago Cubs this season in a limited role. You are not going to see him start a game this season for the Chicago Cubs. Chicago Cubs need starting pitching, man. They need it and need it bad. I hate to say that about Ben Brown, because Ben Brown has been amazing this year for the Chicago Cubs. But again, I would be very, very shocked, guys. Do not be surprised if you do not see Ben Brown back again this year. And I hate to say that. But the Chicago Cubs have to keep chugging forward, man. They find themselves 11 games over 500, welcoming the St. Louis Cardinals on Friday for a 3-game set. And yeah, man, you got to keep pushing, got to keep chugging along. But losing Ben Brown for the season is definitely going to hurt this Chicago Cubs team. But they got to keep chugging along as they have all season long. Make sure that you guys stay tuned in here. What are your thoughts on Ben Brown, on this weird neck injury that he has? And like I said, just the weird look of the Chicago Cubs and their pitching staff this year and their just inability to stay healthy and stay on the field. Hopefully they can work through this. Hopefully we can get this figured out. But yeah, it's not looking good for Ben. But the Chicago Cubs are going to have to figure it out, man. They got a lot of games still left to be played this season. But hey, listen, this has been another episode of Chicago Cubs Central. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And until next time, go Cubs go. Peace.
Thank you for watching another episode of Chicago Cubs Central, the #1 spot for all Chicago Cubs content. Remember to like, share, subscribe for more Cubs content.